gentlemen, welcome to live stream number 137. Today is March 28th, why do I keep on saying 2018? I still live back in the 90s, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to join today's live stream. My name is Lars Christensen, and today we're going to talk, about Fusion 360. We're going to talk about the best view is your custom views. Good to be back, man. Sorry I was out a couple of days here. Hit a little bit under the weather. The wife would tell you that I had a cold, but I thought I was going to die, honestly. But it's good to be back. We'll do this one maybe a little bit shorter just because my voice is going to drain out a little bit on it. But that's all good. Also, I gotta say quick, there's not gonna be any live streams tonight on Facebook. I'm gonna write something on Facebook too. Not because I was out sick, but it's the wife's birthday. Gotta celebrate that. Okay, enough of all this. Let's talk about custom views. So, like I said last week, I really would like to try to do more of your specific issues because I think it makes more sense than me just coming up with stuff. Really appreciate everybody who's emailing me their suggestions. Email is down in the description area. And Greg emailed me in regard to a drawing question with views. And I realized I don't think I've talked about custom views, really. So, that's what we're going to do today. All right, man. 1 minute in and we already got 58 people in here. Thank you so much for taking the time to join the live streams. Okay, so I want to show you a couple of different things. It's not going to be overly complicated, but like I said, I haven't talked about it, I think. So let's sketch something up here. Start a new sketch on the top view here, and then hit the S key. I'm going to do the center rectangle, and I'm just going to sketch a rectangle here that is 50 by 50. And let's extrude that up, Q for extrude, and make that 50. Ta-da! Nothing special here. Now let's go ahead and add a chamfer to this edge right here. And let's go in like, maybe 40 is better. Something like that. Okay. Quick question to you guys. If you guys saw how I just modeled this one up, a rectangular sketch, a square sketch, extrude it up, and then use the chamfer tool to put this flat on. If you had ever had to model something up that looks like this, would you have done that, or would you have started creating a line, extruded it up? That's probably what I would have done. I wouldn't have done it with the chamfer tool. So, just a neat little, teaser. Just think about some of these tools in there that maybe could help you design a little faster. All right, now while we're on this face here, I'm just going to open another sketch, do C for circle, and actually I thought I could snap into something here. There we go, center point, 25 diameter, this doesn't really matter. Let's extrude some depth to this one, minus 25. Okay, so that's what we ended up with. Something that looks like this. Now, we're going to come back and talk about 3D space like this. But Greg's specific question was in the 2D environment, how do I make a view if I want to show this face? I want to dimension this face. So let's just save this. And let's call it view. Put it in the live stream folder. By the way, most of the designs that I do on these live streams, I try to be good at saving them. So if you ever need any of them for practice, then send me an email and I'll send you a link to it. So let's go in and make a 2D drawing from this. Doom. And we get a 2D canvas. And we got to do more about 2D drawings for sure. Now, when you open up in here in 2D, you get the block coming in like this. And if you click over here, you get some different options. So maybe if I select top, you will see that the thing comes in a little bit better. So I could place that top view there and hit OK. And we can kind of like see the top view there. Now, if I really wanted to dimension this view where the hole is on, there's a couple of different thought process that might crosses your mind in a 2D drawing. My first thought process was, well, I could go in and use like a section view maybe. So you select the section view and you select two intersections that you want it to point towards, hit enter, and that would kind of like give you that view. But as you can see, it's kind of skewed in an angle and maybe not what you want. Another way to do it could have been to go into the rotate tool. We click rotate, click our view, and then if we click over here on the transform button like this, then we could actually rotate it down and it looks like 315 degrees. Bingo. That will give us that view. And now we could go ahead and do a projected view. And if I move up, of course it could be out of the drawing, then I get that right view there. So to answer Greg's question, this would be one way to do it. Now I would have to move it all down a little bit. Of course, it has to be on the paper. It can't be outside the paper. Move that one down there and move that one down. So that will now let me dimension things in this view here. Right now we could start doing some dimensions on here, 25, whatever. Now, so this is actually okay, the way to do it, but it made me think of something that I've never talked about on these live streams, and shame of me, actually. And that is the named views over here. This folder over here, and some of you guys might be familiar with it, already use it, but some of you guys might not. Well, if you've never seen it, then let me show it to you. What this is really letting you do over here is to almost set a camera on whatever. I don't have it shaded. I want to shade it with visible edges on. It will let you set almost a camera spot wherever you want. So what Greg really wanted was some obscure image, like looking obscure. That's wrong. But looking straight at this one, this face here, or something similar to that in a weird angle. Now the way to look at this face right on, instead of just moving around with either your 3D Connection mouse like I do, or shift middle mouse button and try to be close, is to actually click down here on look at. See that little thing down there? Click on look at and then click on that face. Boom. Now you're looking straight on this face here. But if you're looking straight at this face here, you will see that our view cube up here is actually, well, it's looking in a weird angle. Now this is where these named views can be really handy. What we can do is we can right click on the named views folder and say create a new view. And it will create a new named view. And you can rename this one whatever you want. Probably come up with some better naming than this. But what this means is, with this, I can be over here, double click on the name here, and boom, we are back at that view. Click on the front view, the top view, right? Or click on that view, bang, we're back again. And what is neat about this view, I'm going to save the file. Just got to save it. And you should always add a comment, edit view. Best practices. Now, actually, when I go in here, because I just saved it, right, it comes up and says that there is a reference out. It knows that this file is on version 2, this drawing is on version 1. See that right here. Now, if we click that little yellow icon, it will update it. Now, we didn't see really anything change on our screen, but if we insert a new view, just like we did in the beginning, you will actually see that we now have whatever we call that view as an option in here, and we could have started out with that view and we didn't have to do all that rotating stuff. So I think that is pretty cool. Matter of the fact, these named views are extremely useful if you start working with bigger designs. Like you're working on one of your cool designs. I see them all the time. And you have somewhere where you're always working in some obscure angle, and you find yourself doing some work, and then, you know, a guy comes over and is like, hey, can I see that in a cool isometric view? You do it like this, then you gotta go back and find it again. Well, you can always just, whenever you are in that cool view, you just right click, new view, and this could be, you know, whatever you want to call it, and now you always have these views handy. I have used this a ton when I worked on big assemblies. And also be aware of all these named views actually follow the different spaces. So if you go into sheet metal, you will see that it's in there. If you switch into cam, then you will see that the views are different in here, but they are living in here, in the model. So in the cam, there's actually cam views, but there's also these here that we could at any time, that's one we were on, anytime switch to these here. Now, talking about that's all good. Now, while we're in the cam environment, so definitely named views are definitely something that I should have talked about a long time ago. You should have known that. Literally just gives you the option. And by the way, you can always update them too. So if I decide that this cool view should be over here, just right click on it and say update name view. And that is now the new cool view. As you also just saw, you can also right click on them and delete them if you don't want them anymore. Now, when we're talking about views, something else we got to talk about is this view cube up here, because I get some questions about that. So let's say we go into the cam environment, and this doesn't really matter if you're just doing cam. But in here, if we were going to machine this flat surface and this hole, we will go in and create our own setup, because in cam, we don't really care too much about the view up here. We can create our own kind of datum like this. But cam guy sometimes emails me and says, it really bothers me that this view cube is way out of whack. When I'm in a view like this and you got Z up and this is where I'm working, why can't I get this view cube to resemble that? And you actually can. This works for both in the modeler space, or it works in the cam workspace. What you can actually do is you can move to whatever you want to be top. So let's go back to this view here. And up here you can see in the view cube that it's all misaligned. Well, if you right click on that view cube, you can go down here and say set current view as, and you can say top. And look at that. Now it just switched that view cube up here to be top. And now you will be happy to know that it is now, well, in the cam workspace, again, because it's using different views, it would actually stay there. You have to do it in the cam workspace, of course. So let's go into Lars's view, right click in here and do the same thing in here. Okay, so now it's inside of the cam workspace. Top is now here, and also in the model workspace, top is now here. This is also great if you are importing models. If you ever try to import a model from another piece of software, and a step file, you bring it in and it's like upside down. I remember a wine bottle I used to have that problem with. I used in a model, came in, it was like wine was running on the floor. This trick, by moving it to whatever you think should be the top, and again, you can just use this look at to get you. So we want this to be top, click on that, and then you can right click on the view cube, set current view as top, and you have now changed that. So now at least you're not losing your mind. Hope this is useful. The last thing I gotta show, because when we talk about custom views, I'm gonna open a new file here. I get asked this quite a bit from people, and that is, if you're looking over here at my view cube, I have front, top, and what is this? Right side. And people are asking me, especially I think machinists, with the Z. The Z is pointing in the wrong direction. Why wouldn't Z point up at the top? The reason for this is that back in the day, there was no rules for this. There is actually no rules about on a part what is up and down. And CAD companies decided that front was going to be the main view. So CAD companies just decided that, well, front is the main view, and therefore we're going to put the Z-axis on there. Then, of course, manufacturing people come in and be like, that's a little silly. Now, of course, in Fusion, you can switch this. If you go to your preferences, go to click your name, your preferences, right here, you can switch it. So instead of having Y up, you can have Z up. Hit apply, hit OK, and it will happen when you start your first new design. So now you will see that top and Z is going in the right direction. Now, the reason that I don't switch mine, honestly, I'm just used to the old way of things here, and that's the default in the software. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. All right, so I hope this was useful. Again, a short one. I feel it on my voice, but it's good to be back. Hope this was somewhat useful. Keep on sending me what you would like to see for future topics, because, like I said, that's really what I want to try to be better at, showing you on these live streams. No live stream tonight. It's the wife's birthday. But tomorrow at 3 p.m., we will be back. So I'm going to do what I normally do, end the broadcast. So if you're watching the recording, thank you so much. If you like this, thumbs up. If you don't, be honest, thumbs down. And if you're in the chat, I'm going to come in and say hi to you. So take care, everybody. Thank you.